Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. The arrest of FTX Sam Bankman-Fried reaches Magisterial Hearing in the Bahamas. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 16th December 2022. Details when we return.
Win prizes weekly with the Dutch Lady Christmas promotion. You can win hampers, kitchen appliances, and much more. Here's how to win. Visit our Facebook and Instagram pages weekly to retrieve the recipe. Follow the recipe. Submit the final dish via email at dlchristmaspromotion@gmail.com, along with proof of purchase of Dutch Lady UHT or 410 evaporated milk. Recipes will be judged based on the display. Winners will be selected each week to battle for the grand prize in a live cooking show hosted by the creative chef. Look out for the Dutch Lady Santa Claus at supermarkets island-wide. The promotion runs from November 16th to December 21st, 2022. And once again, we'd like to congratulate the winner of last year's Dutch Lady Christmas promotion, Miss Brianna Bihari. Dutch Lady Milk, proudly distributed by Hubbard's Agency.
Welcome back. Former CEO of FTX Sam Bankman-Fried arraigned before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt in the Bahamas. More in this ZNS News story.
From the closely guarded enclave of high-end Albany to the barbed wire borders of Fox Hills, Bahamas Department of Corrections. A full day for the local and international press corps who for hours waited at the Nassau Street Court Complex for the outcome of FTX's embattled former CEO Samuel Bankman-Fried's first appearance in a Bahamas court following his widely reported arrest at his home hours earlier. With tonight's top story, we go now to our Fern Carey.
Founder and former CEO of the failed FTX crypto exchange, Samuel Bankman-Fried, was whisked into court Tuesday, appearing before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt for his extradition hearing. The 30-year-old is facing criminal charges in the United States, accused of orchestrating a years-long scheme to defraud FTX equity investors. The leaders of both the prosecution and defense teams spent most of the morning trying to convince the court why Bankman-Fried should or should not get bail. Lead prosecutor Franklin Williams argued, among other things, that Bankman-Fried should not get bail as he is a flight risk who has access to substantial amounts of money, including ties to foreign countries that are unlikely to extradite him. He also indicated that Bankman-Fried also has access to private planes. In response, leader of the defense team, Jerome Roberts, submitted, among other things, that the former crypto boss is a permanent resident of the Bahamas who has property in the country. He also indicated that Bankman-Fried chose to stay in the country in order to assist provisional liquidators. He also noted that conditions could be imposed on the 30-year-old to ensure that he does not flee the country. After hearing from both sides, the chief magistrate adjourned the matter, and when she returned, she rejected Bankman-Fried's bail application, noting that the risk of flight is so great and any conditions imposed will not be sufficient to satisfy the risk of him fleeing the country. She then remanded him to the Bahamas Department of Corrections until February 8th of 2023. At that time, he will return to court for his extradition hearing.
In the meantime, the acting Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Chester Cooper, comments on the arrest of former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried. ZNS News shares more.
Chester Cooper is expressing confidence in the country's judicial system following Sam Bankman-Fried's arrest and extradition hearing. Cooper weighing in on the latest developments ahead of Tuesday's weekly cabinet meeting.
I'm confident that the matter is in court. It's going to run its course. Of confidence in the judicial system. Our main focus as a government will be to protect the ongoing reputation of the Bahamas. But I don't have any further comments on SBF or FTX.
He also tackled East Grand Bahama MP Crazy Thompson's criticism in the House of Assembly Monday that the government's been relatively silent in the media, coupled with its so-called lack of defense of the country's reputation against attacks in the international media.
I don't follow up political nonsense, really. The reality is that we are focused as a government on business development. The brand of our country is very strong internationally. We see it as we make missions in tourism and investments. We expect that this is going to continue. Our focus isn't to study Kwesi and the F&M. We're going to continue on the path to build a strong country, and that's where we expect that our continued focus is going to be to continue to protect and enhance the reputation, and we're going to do it the best way we know how to.
In other news, St. Lucia's Prime Minister Philip J. Pear has shut down the crime-fighting measures suggested by opposition leader Alan Shastany, asserting that they are nothing new. Zane Romulus of the DBS News World reports.
With a declaration that he cannot stop crime, Prime Minister Philip Pierre has once again called on anyone who can provide recommendations to deal with the situation to come forward. This after he turned down the measures suggested by opposition leader Alan Shastany in an open letter to him last week. One recommendation contained in the letter is the creation of a crime command center.
There's nothing that can happen today. Absolutely nothing. It's just things that either revise things of what we are doing or things that there's nothing new. The leader of the opposition has presented no new ideas. And if you compare it to my suggestions, they're basically similar, but mine are more real. The leader of the opposition speaks about a compulsory polygraph test. The constitution of the country may deal with that. You can't compel people to do these things unless they're accused. These are people's human rights. I would like to have it, but it can't be compulsory. These things have never happened.
The Prime Minister says the current crime situation did not happen overnight and cannot be solved by a quick fix. He has come down on those who are suggesting otherwise.
If the government, for some miracle, I don't become Prime Minister, I'm not Prime Minister tomorrow, if the next Prime Minister will solve crime tomorrow, he can't. Nobody has. What people are trying to do is we are trying to dramatize this thing and make this thing and to behave as if it's the first time. I'm on record as saying it's horrible. It's too much. It's too much. We have to deal with it. But let's not pretend that it's something that I can stop today, or anybody could stop today. Nobody stopped it. Nobody stopped it today. I can't stop it today. I would love to have the answer. You think I wouldn't like to lead a country where it's crime-free and nothing happens? But I can't do it today. It's incremental, it's work in progress, and we're working towards it.
When it comes to dealing with the matter at hand, says the nation's leader, he will not be hasty in his comments, but instead will be realistic and truthful with the citizens. For the DBS News World, I am Zane Romulus.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
Citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis to receive $500 and $250 CBI dividends by year-end. Andre Huey of SKN Newsline reports.
Citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis who have contributed to the Social Security scheme will receive dividends from the Citizenship by Investment program of $500 and $250, disclosed Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew in a national address on Monday.
There are two categories of payments. Category 1, Social Security pensioners and those who are pensionable in the Social Security scheme. Those persons would have made 500 contributions and upwards into the Social Security Fund will receive $500 in dividend. Category 2 are those persons who are not yet pensionable, meaning therefore that their number of contributions would be from 499 contribution downwards. They will receive a dividend of $250. This decision includes persons who, because of the small number of contributions, were recommended not to receive a Citizenship by Investment COVID-19 relief payment or dividend. However, it is my strong view and desire that this first dividend must include any person who has contributed to our Social Security scheme. The payment process is scheduled to begin by Thursday, December 15th, 2022, with the goal of all payments being completed by December 31st, 2022.
Dr. Drew said the number of future payments of dividends will depend on the prevailing circumstances.
A dividend is a recognition of the investment of the shareholders in any company. As we move forward, this St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party administration will evaluate all state assets and explore the possibility of dividends from such assets to the citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis. The $23 million is a cash injection into the economy, intending to stimulate growth and economic activity and to encourage our ordinary citizens and residents to become shareholders in private companies, understanding that it is also a form of savings. I invite all of you to become financially savvy and join our administration in creating a wealth-conscious society as your government moves forward in creating avenues and opportunities for wealth accumulation.
The Prime Minister disclosed that portions of CBI profits have been allocated to the establishment of a sovereign wealth fund, and other portions are also assigned to capital investment for the general good of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis collectively. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
A victory in the High Court for the National Infrastructure Development Company NIDCO in Trinidad and Tobago. It has to do with the highway extension contract awarded to Constructora OAS SA in 2011, as a judge has set aside an arbitration order for NIDCO to pay OAS more than $850 million. Anselm Gibbs of TV6 News reports.
A High Court ruling in favor of NIDCO. It came on Wednesday, 8 months after NIDCO was ordered by arbitrators to pay $857 million to Brazilian firm Constructora OAS SA, as Justice Frank C. Prasad has set aside that order. In his ruling, he said, the commercial decision reflected in the contract to have disputes determined by the arbitrator has to be overridden, and that the court must set aside the award as it was based on findings that were unsupportable on the evidence, inconsistent with the law, and are decisions which no reasonable arbitrator could have arrived at. This all has to do with OAS getting a $5.3 billion contract back in 2011 to extend the Solomon Hochoy Highway. NIDCO later terminated the contract. In his ruling, Justice C. Prasad pointed to Clause 16.1 of the contract. He said that clause did not entitle OAS to fully abandon the works, and that the clause allowed OAS to suspend or reduce the rate of work, but not abandon the works completely or demobilize from the site. C. Prasad said the tribunal did not adequately evaluate the evidence adduced by NIDCO in support of its contention that OAS did not remain mobilized on site as it failed to maintain sufficient resources to resume normal working upon receipt of payment. He also said the award did not reflect a measured assessment of the said evidence and no reasoned explanation was proffered about why it was rejected. C. Prasad said, in the circumstances, the tribunal's position was fundamentally flawed. Anselm Gibbs, TV6 News.
The Office of the Attorney General, meantime, has filed an urgent appeal against the ruling by Justice Devendra Rampasad in favor of Gary Griffith's lawsuit against the Prime Minister, the National Security Council and others concerning the FUL audit report. TTT News has more.
Attorney General Reginald Armour, in response to a question from the opposition in Parliament on Wednesday, boldly stated that the appeal is an appropriate use of taxpayers' money to challenge a decision which is patently wrong.
On the 13th of December 2022, yesterday, the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, by my office, filed notice of appeal P3112 of 2022 between the Attorney General, Prime Minister, members of the National Security Council against Mr. Gary Griffith. And the application for an urgent hearing was filed today.
The Food Fair Shop and Win promotion is back, better than ever. We are giving away $30,000 in prizes with the promotional activities you know and love, like find the misplaced items, spin the wheel, and other exciting in-store activities. You can win hams, turkeys, vouchers, cooking gas from Sol, and lunch packages from the Creative Chef. The promotion runs from November 16th to December 23rd, 2022. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.